Hello and welcome back to another WhiskAYE podcast. WhiskAYE podcast number 36, I believe, this time.
Yep.
This time round we are, as always, on a, well, not always, as mostly always, we're on a Dram Team box.
Yep.
This time it's the February 2022 box, Irish Whiskies edition.
Being recorded in
June 2022. But the title card says, already world-renowned for producing excellent spirit, the Irish distillery industry has boomed in recent years, with many new and exciting producers bursting proudly onto the scene. Dive into this box, and with the luck of the Irish, you'll find a pot of gold at the end of this rainbow of flavour. Cheers. To be sure.
We're leaning heavily into the stereotypes. Yeah. I mean, Ireland's pretty known for its whiskey. If you ask an Irish person, I think they'd say they invented it.
Probably.
But yeah, had a bit of a run of bad luck around Prohibition times.
That's what you get for marketing to only one country.
And not being willing to smuggle.
Yeah.
But it's good to see him coming back, like I say. More whiskey can only ever be a good thing.
Yes.
Do you want to get straight into the first one?
I'm ready to go.
Okie dokie.
Been a long day, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long 4 months since February, apparently. So I'll introduce us to the first one. This is called The Irishman, The Harvest. So this is the signature bottling in Walsh Whiskies, the Irishman range, and was recently renamed to honour Ireland's rich agricultural and distilling heritage. Formerly known as Founders Reserve, the Harvest is a unique marriage of 70% single malt and 30% single pot still whiskey, both crafted from a mash bill made entirely of Irish barley, which is then matured in ex-bourbon barrels, almost impossibly smooth and sippable. Well, that's kind of what I'm expecting from this box, because Irish whiskey, I think, is all triple distilled.
Yeah.
So it generally is quite a bit smoother than Scotch, apart from Auchentoshan, which is also triple distilled, obviously. But, you know, it's usually a bit softer, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's also, you know, usually blended.
Yeah.
Although I think there's quite a few that aren't in this, which is interesting.
Well, I guess for a while they will have to be, because, you know, they're only all opening new, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So they won't have out particularly old.
I was more just meaning, like, they usually, I think there's quite a few single malts in this, whereas usually Irish whiskey is a blend, even if it's from the same, even if it's like from a distillery, there's usually a grain element to it, which would...
True.
Unless potentially, we'll have to look into this, but unless potentially a single malt Irish whiskey is actually got a grain element as well, but I doubt it.
It'd have to be. No, because this is blended, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And this is it's entirely barley, but it's single malt and single pot still. So it's all barley, but it still counts as a blend because it's not all all done in the same way, same still.
Yeah.
So right, sorry, and it'll be from. Well, it can be from. It'll be from 2 different distilleries, won't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be a single malt. Yeah, we'll see if any of these single malts coming up have a bit of grain in them, I guess.
Because usually you would assume there's no grain in a single malt, but maybe when it's Irish.
Well, it can be in Scotland, can it? It's got to be 100%.
That's what I mean.
Malt barley. Anyway, should we get some nosing done?
Yes.
Nosing and drinking.
I've been doing it in between, you know.
Oh, apologies, I haven't. So it's zesty spice, black pepper, and peaches.
It's definitely quite fruity.
It's quite fruity, but also clovesy.
Almost smells like a sort of dessert white wine.
Yeah, because there's that underlying hint of, well, not hint, but there's that underlying alcohol, isn't there?
Yeah, but
it's like a boozy pudding.
Yeah, it reminds me of like a dry, not dry, like a sweet white wine. See,
I can't do the wines because I don't drink wine. But
I don't really drink white wine, so that's why I'm not trying to name a style of white wine. I'm just saying
Yeah, it makes me think of like not like a Christmas pudding, but like like a boozy trifle or something like that.
Yeah, well, I think that so it's like fruity and boozy is what I would say. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll be.
I'm not getting so
suitably-
much of the spice and pepper, but
No. I'll let you dive in. So you should be getting pot still spice, dark chocolate, and bourbon oak, and the finish is oak and butterscotch.
oh, that does have quite a dark chocolate flavour to it.
Does it? I'm going to go in. What else did you get?
I'm trying to think what they mean by pot still spice.
There's a bit of spice to it.
It's a bit spicy, but
Definitely like a creamy finish, like a butterscotchy.
yeah.
Goes
It's got
down
legs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, to use the worst word, it's smooth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
a little bit of spice, chocolate.
It's a bit bitter. It's not really
a little bit better
for quite what I thought was quite a fruity.
The fruit disappears.
No,
there's no
it's
fruit.
not in there. Yeah. It is nice. It's got a bit of a spice on the finish. Don't know if you.
Yeah, I do get what they mean when he says almost impossibly smooth and sippable. I feel like you could quite happily have a couple of these and not really notice.
Yeah.
Until you come to stand up and then you're like, oh, it's all gone terribly wrong.
Absolutely. It's I'm finding it hard to find anything else to say though. Like, it's a bit.
It's pleasant, isn't it? It's not like
It's quite straightforward. So
yeah, it's soft. It could do with maybe a bit more sweetness or a bit more spice or a bit more chocolatiness to it. But it's really nice, but pleasant. I would say not like, oh, this is great, but not like I'm not drinking this ever again.
I did a bit of water. It made it slightly more harsh, but it did bring through more of a butterscotch flavour.
Yeah, there's a little bit of butterscotch to it. So I've put fruit and booze on the nose, light spice, chocolate, a little bit of bitterness, and a smooth, creamy finish.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Do you want to get straight in on the scores on this one? Nice and quick?
Yeah, we can crack on with the scores. I would probably put that as did we move an average whiskey score?
Yeah.
Or is it 3?
Yeah, I think that's a quintessential 3.
Yeah, it's a 3.
Then,
just wanted to make sure we were still using it. Because we had some consideration about most whiskey is at least a 3, so maybe we should move 3 down a bit, but
I think most whiskey that we get in these boxes are free because they're curated boxes.
Yeah.
I don't know if most whiskey produced.
I would say most whiskey that is released is it.
I don't know, because if you go in like a Bell's or whatever, I won't put that at a 3.
I would say most premium whiskey that's released.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But like most, if most people think of whiskey that aren't into whiskey, I'd say
they
those
probably think of like grouse.
1.5s to 2s.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not trying to be harsh. It's a lot of competition, a lot of good whiskies, and this is their entry range one, didn't it?
Yeah, it's the Founder's Reserve or whatever. It's usually pretty much like it's like maybe one up from the entry.
Yeah. Okay.
On to the next.
Quick swig of water to get me ready for number 2.
Yeah, good idea.
From your favourite. Almost like we planned it.
I'm fairly certain they've redeemed themselves, but we still
it's whether they've forgiven you. They've got a load of places in London, these guys, so one day we ought to go through and see if you're banned. Like anyone who enters, they've got a phrase recorded and you have to say it.
Yeah. And if it sounds like me, just
say Glen Keith.
Yeah. And then if you're sick whilst you're saying it. I mean, we no longer have. We've had the spare Glen Keith now, so
it's like nuclear disarmament. We did our part. We got rid of some of that.
Came back to saying it probably wasn't as bad as we thought, to be fair, but that might just be our palates have broken.
I think we had a couple of beers as well by that point.
Yeah.
So that always helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just life in general.
But as we have alluded to, and anyone who's a fan may know, this is a Berry Brothers and Rudd classic single malt Irish whiskey. So the UK's oldest independent bottler, a go-to for Dram Team Scotch selections.
Why you say it with that kind of tone of voice?
I just,
never wanted them to forgive you.
I was saying it because that always is on the card.
Just to Mr. Rudd and all the Berry brothers, I'm not, I'm not affiliated.
They do sound a bit like a wrestling team. Like in the.
I always thought it sounded more like a children TV show. You got the Berry brothers,
yeah.
And then Rudd would be like
a dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Anyway.
So, demonstrating they know a thing or two about whiskey from Ireland as well. This 10-year-old single malt hails from Cooley Distillery, known for producing quality brands such as Connemara and Kilbeggan. So, you pour it in, have a sniff.
Quite a bit of vanilla, maybe?
It says here, should be fresh and crisp with juicy apple, while spicy vanilla notes come forward from the oak.
There you go. I'm not sure I'd call it fresh. Or crisp. I don't know. I don't think it's punchy enough.
I could imagine that being like a scent that they put on, cleaners and stuff to make them smell fresh.
Yeah, maybe.
It's usually citric though, and I wouldn't say that was particularly.
No.
Say that's closer to like leafy greens.
Yeah, I could go with that. Okay, vanilla and leafy greens. One of those. This is why we need to get better at that whole poetic thing, because we could have been like a green salad with a vanilla dressing. You've just arrived at your favourite restaurant.
Your favourite vegan restaurant.
Yeah, your date's sitting across from you. She's interested in everything you've got to say. You just ordered the salad with leaf greens. You're anticipating the entree. That kind of storytelling nonsense.
Yeah.
Right.
On the palate.
Going in.
Should be oily with a brittle bite of apple acidity, which gives vibrancy. I imagine this is going to be a good one for orchard fruits then.
I kind of see what they're meaning. It's like it comes in fairly flat, then there's like a peak, then it comes off quite quickly. Like a peak of fruity sweetness, and then it dies off again. So I do get what they mean by a brittle.
It's very oily either side of that.
It is, but it's like it just breaks through for a little bit, and then it fades again. So I do get what they mean by that.
Sort of like the boozy bite comes through and then makes you taste the undercurrent, and then, like as the booziness hits the back of your throat, it's like here's a different flavour back to the oiliness.
Yeah, me to begin. Then I hit orchard fruit. Yeah, I do kind of get what they mean. It's pretty clever whoever came up with the idea of a brittle bite.
Yeah.
It's quite smart.
Alliteration too. A brittle bite of apple acidity.
Wow, they really went for it. Which, I mean, they could have gone with like which gives something beginning with G.
Glow.
Gusto.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm just gonna go. I've still got quite a bit of this left.
Yeah, me too. It's a nice one. There may be a hint of bitterness on the finish.
I suppose acidity and bitterness are hand in hand, aren't they? So
yeah.
Like apples are not 100% sweet.
No,
especially green ones.
It can be quite tart. One of the few things I'm not growing at the moment. Apples. Yet. I am going to buy a dwarf apple tree.
Is that like a bonsai apple tree, or is it dwarf apples?
No, they get to like 8 to 10 feet. But you can keep them in a pot rather than plant them in the ground.
I see.
So I'm getting an apple tree, a pear tree, and an almond tree. Is my plan.
Fair enough. Didn't really. I suppose all nuts grow on trees. Now that I think about it, but yeah.
No, there's groundnuts.
Is there?
Yeah, peanuts are groundnuts. Because the legumes, peanuts.
No. So they're actually a pea.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But I think there's other groundnuts as well, aren't there? I don't know if Brazil nuts are groundnuts.
Not sure.
No, I'm not a big fan. I like almonds, and that's about it for nuts, really. Oh no, pistachios, they're pretty good.
I would say I like peanuts, walnuts.
I don't really like peanuts or walnuts. I don't like salt
hazelnuts.
It just tastes like salt. Well, I've got my first thing.
Cashew nuts. They're a banger.
Cashews are pretty good, yeah. I've got my first thing. I've got a little pod of peas.
Oh.
I'm so happy when I saw that. It's great. Tiny little pod of peas. So I've got peas growing and producing now. I've got my onions nearly ready. Garlic's getting there. Carrots and cabbage are doing okay. Parsnips look like they're coming through. The broccoli's doing okay now that I've got rid of most of the slugs. The rocket looks like it's doing okay, and the radish just started poking through.
Could make a pretty beast in salad before that.
I know. I'm pretty chuffed. I've got some peas growing as well, but they aren't doing too brilliant. And then my strawberries that I planted look like they just died. So, oh well. I'm just trying everything. I'm just throwing everything at the ground and seeing what sticks for next year. You know.
Fair enough.
So,
want to go in for some scores?
Let me just finish this one, and then yes.
I added some water. It didn't really change it.
I feel like I need to do something. So you add the water, and maybe I'll do like a Gen Z thing and pour it into my eye or something. Yeah.
If that Gen Z, I feel like that's probably our generation. Yeah,
I think it is. I think Gen Z are basically swearing off. They still drink, but I think millennials were definitely the ones who took it.
Yeah.
And then they're rebelling against us by not really drinking that much.
Yeah, just taking loads of weird street drugs.
Yeah. Fair play to them. They're the ones who are going to fix this world.
Hopefully, because we didn't do a very good job yet.
No, I feel like we were too soon after the boomers. I think we just went straight into, the world's destroyed.
Yeah.
And they've come out with a bit more optimism. God bless them.
Well, they're like nihilistic, but that gives them the freedom to be
optimistic, nihilistic. Cause like millennials was like, world's going to end, not much point trying anything. They're like, world's going to end, let's try something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're like,
the high-hillists.
Yeah.
Bit of a throwback there.
Yeah, good ref.
To the aisle. Yes, scores. Would you like to give this one a score?
I would like to give that one a score of 3.5.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I would say it's uncomplicated, but I would say it's uncomplicated in a different way that I thought was better.
Yeah, it was slightly better than the previous one.
Yeah.
And that's generally how we judge these things. Right, let me just have a quick swish of water around my glass.
I feel like it's
probably run 6 glasses at this point, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I've got 5, I think, and I've got a mini one that I could use for the the 6 dram.
I think I could put 5 glasses together.
Yeah, and but that's a lot of washing, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, and I don't have a dedicated like.
Plus, you need more space on your desk at that point, and that would mean tidying my desk.
Yeah, I can say I don't have a.
Still has the little taster bottles from when we did a little sherry cask finish, tasting to ourselves, and a rum that came free with that.
Oh yeah. Get that drunk. Right, whiskey number numero 3.
Well, is that to go with this name on it?
It's a bit of a mix, but yeah. So I looked it up what it was because there's a beer called Cuvée des Trolls that I really like. I think it's Cuvée des Trolls. Something. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it is. Cuvée des Trolls, which is a Belgian beer that's quite nice. So I just wondered what Cuvée meant. And it's a type, blend, or batch of wine, especially champagne.
Actually, I've heard, now that you say it, I've heard a cuvée of champagne.
Yeah.
Or cuvée in relation to champagne.
Exactly. So that's what it means, basically. Like it's like a collective for wine. So you could say, like, you know, adding this to a cuvée is indispensable, and it just means adding it to the wine, a blend or a batch of wine.
Yeah.
So there you go. As always, we are a highbrow drunken whiskey podcast.
Yeah.
So this is Waterford.
What did you say about my eyebrows?
Bring them down.
Yeah.
Waterford, the cuvée. So it says, Waterford take an innovative approach to whiskey creation, focused to date on a series of single farm origin bottlings. Just to say, the Yorkshire Distillery uses its own farm, but just putting that. Made from barley harvested at a single farm, and demonstrating the influence of local farmers or terroir. Have you heard of
that? No.
So I've heard of it from like fancy chefs, and it's basically being able to, like, all your ingredients, you know exactly where they came from. So you say, oh, this pork was grown on this farm by this farmer, and ideally it's like close.
Yeah. My mate Bill.
Yeah, which is usually a good idea because it's better for the environment, isn't
it?
Yeah. So this milestone cuvée release is a culmination of this approach, blending together 25 different whiskies from 25 farms barley. This could be, I feel like, interesting.
Okay, I don't want to be that guy, right? But I feel like this is not the culmination of that. This is the obliteration of that.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
Yeah, and we've done single farm origin bottlings, and now we're going to do them all at once.
Do you remember the Glenfiddich 20?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to that, isn't it? And if you look at the tasting notes, so these are probably the longest tasting notes we've ever had. So the nose, red apples, fresh dry soil, bread crust, green foliage, lavender, digestive biscuits, oranges, barmbrack, overripe banana skin, a summer flower bed, fresh mint, coffee cake. I just don't see how one thing can smell of all those things, but
I guess you just give it to like 20 different people and get them all to tell you what they think, and then
yeah, maybe
it's kind of malty.
There's maltiness, but there's a bit of sweetness to it.
Yeah, maybe like banana bread.
Ooh, that's a good shout. Yeah, it does have that baked goods quality to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Speaking of, I could really do with another cinnamon bun. I feel like I should have one of those a week.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. I had one in London first time when I went to visit as a mutual friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then was like enamoured. And then I went to a meeting, and the level 5 who was running it had bought like a box from the nearby bakery.
Yeah.
And there was cinnamon buns in that, so I grabbed one. And then I went into this call with my boss, and it was like one of these little 2-man booths that they have on like open floor places now, so you can sit and be in a call private. And it was just me and him and a couple of others in our team on the call, and he was like glaring daggers at me like, where's mine? And I was just sat there eating this cinnamon bun. He's like, Josh, what have you got to say? And then I was like, all right. He was like, all right, I'll come back to you. It was so good. Anyway, sorry.
Nothing to say. Just
that was you weren't stopping me. I was devouring that thing. So I'll let you dive in. So the palate: clove sweets, white pepper, oily, grapefruit, lemon zest, dark chocolate, dry toast, cherries, granola bar, dried herbs, aniseed, green olives, free peel, marmalade. And the finish: pepper up front with oily spiciness that softens, starts dry, but then gets mouth-watering and lingers.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, I imagine it is with all those tastings.
I don't know that I got any of those, but I got some flavours that I'm going to try and pick out.
It's quite savoury down the middle on your tongue. Quite dry. There's like a fudginess to it at the end.
Yeah. Also, sort of like I'm struggling to describe it. It's like raisininess, but not. It's like dried fruit, but it's not really. It's like prune juice or something like that.
You know when you get a scone and you bite that one raisin and it's not as sweet as you expect, but it's still really nice.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
Yeah, that's where I was at with like. Yeah.
Because you sometimes get like those raisins in scones that just aren't very sweet and they're dry.
Yeah. It's sort of, and they have a sort of toffee texture.
Yeah, I think that's quite heavy. I'm going to double down, I think, on the scone. Because it's got that kind of dryness to it. That kind of vanilla-iness. It's got that kind of raisininess.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd go.
And the finish, it's kind of, it is peppery. That is correct. I would say that definitely is what comes through. But if you like, wait a minute. It's got a bit of an umami kind of finish.
Yeah.
Put a bit of water in and see if I get any more of these.
Savouriness.
Yeah.
So clove is probably the spiciness and the white pepper. Oily, yeah, it's quite smooth. I wouldn't say grapefruit or lemon zest. Dark chocolate, maybe. Dry toast, yeah, that's that maltiness. Cherries, no. Granola bar, yes, absolutely. Dried herbs, aniseed, no. Green olives, I don't know because I don't like olives.
Just salty.
And free peel marmalade.
You ever had capers?
Yes.
Green olives taste like capers in my opinion.
Yeah, and then the spiciness softens, and it does linger. It does linger.
I'm feeling like with grapefruit, lemon zest, and free peel marmalade, they're getting some kind of citrus through in this. So I've added some water to see if I can find it.
If you hold it for a bit, there is a tartness, like a sour tartness, like you'd get from a zest or a skin. I kind of get that. Kind of. It's very good though. It's better than I expected when you said that it had 25 different ones in it.
Yeah, it's better than Glenfiddich 20. Which I'm pretty sure is like the biggest failure of the.
I don't know. I have no idea which sold more, to be honest.
Well, all I know is that you can still get that they're still making IPA cask. You're still making Fire and Cane, and the other one is Winter Storm, and it's ridiculous. So
Winter Storm is very good,
but was very limited. But you never like they obviously made a limited run of XX, but I would definitely not say that.
But they could continue to make it, couldn't they? Because it was just that 20 master distillers picked out 20 barrels.
It would have to be like the 22, because they'd have to get 20 different barrels.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the problem with that was that they got different people to pick them out. Whereas I'm going to assume that in this one they would have blended the 25 different whiskies from 25 farms barleys.
But under one person's
doing it, yeah.
Yeah.
So there'll be.
You need that control in mind.
Yeah, I get the feeling that the Glenfiddich XX was they took 20 barrels and poured them into a big vat.
Yeah, there will have been somewhere in there tasting it and being like, yeah, that's pretty good. But
yeah.
I feel like this one is more like whoever it is at Waterford.
1% of that one, 12% of that one.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever it is at Waterford had notes and was like, "This it's alchemy, basically, isn't it? Blending." Whoever is like a, if you get a good master blender or a master distiller, it's there's a reason they're the guys, or guys in a gender neutral sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to avoid doing that.
Gendered words.
No, but partly that, but also that like men and women, because then it's like it's just an afterthought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I meant that purely as a gender neutral term. because I think I've...
Yeah, like when someone says bad guys, they don't mean like bad men.
Yeah, I think I'm aware of more women master blenders and distillers than I am men, to be honest.
Definitely after recent events, which
if we do a score now,
yeah.
we could segue into that. Did you
As
want to do a score?
I would probably go with also a 3.5 on that one.
Yeah, but it'd be 3.75 if we had that score.
If we were doing gradations, I'd give it more than a 3.5, but not enough to edge me towards a 4. I don't think.
Or is a big score?
Yeah.
Did you want to segue? Did I want to segue? Who's segueing?
Just have a chat, I suppose. I intro so you can segue.
I shall segue. So, as those of you who know a little bit about whiskey may have kind of guessed from what we're saying about women master distillers, and I think I've given away what part of Britain I live in, generally in Wales. Hopefully not my exact address.
What was it? It was
123 Fake Street. But my co-presenter here visited me recently, and we went over to the Penderyn distillery for what they call a masterclass, which isn't a masterclass in terms of you sit and they teach you anything. It's their kind of fancy tour.
Yeah.
So it's a 2.5 hour.
It's a masterclass in Penderyn.
Yes, I'll give you that. Yeah. So it's a 2.5 hour tour for 60 quid.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, 60 quid around there. You get there. We got there a little bit early. A friend drove us so that we could drink, because Penderyn's a little bit in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Had a look around the gift shop, and then a very friendly, half French, half Welsh, pure French, like actually a French lady.
But she'd lived in Wales a while.
Yeah, so she had a half accent. I'm trying to recall her name. I'm terrible with names.
I can't remember it either.
It might come to me.
To be fair, we had a significant number of drinks that day.
We did. But anyway, she was very nice, very knowledgeable. Greeted us, took us upstairs, tea, coffee, and Welsh cakes, which we partook of quite happily on the Welsh cakes.
Took plenty of Welsh cakes, yeah.
Yes. And then we were joined by, one of us may have spilt some coffee, but we masterfully covered it up. And then we were joined by 3 other groups, I would say.
Yeah, I think so.
A couple of guys who were local.
Yeah.
Another couple of guys, I think, a couple of Welsh guys who'd travelled a little bit. And then 4 or 5 Germans.
Yep.
Can't remember exactly how many. So I was the only Englishman there, which is, I guess, rare. I don't know. But you go up to the boardroom. It was 11 in the morning, 10:30.
Roughly, yeah.
Eased us in with a 40%er.
Yeah, just a run of the
mill. I think a taster rather than a shot.
Yeah.
Talked us a little bit through Penderyn, the history. There was some of the bottles there some of the older bottles that they had on display. Talked us through how it was founded. So, a local landlord had some land that had a spring, was going to bottle the water and sell it, but kind of a still came up for sale, a weird still that a university had developed to try and make a more efficient still for making whiskey.
Well, just for distillation in general, I think.
True. By a Professor Faraday. So it's a Faraday still, if you've ever heard of that. So he bought that, decided, you know what, I'm going to make whiskey. So he did a bit of crowdfunding from the local area. Managed to set up a distillery with this Faraday still.
Yeah, not the Faraday of cake.
No, it's not that old. No.
Or capacity.
Set up with this Faraday still, started making whiskey, or trying to make whiskey, I guess. A Faraday still basically is half pot still, half column still. And in the column, they have a series of copper plates to maximize copper exposure. And it makes very, very strong new make.
Yeah.
Like 92%, I think it was.
Yes.
It told us all about the history of that. I'd encourage you to go to the Penderyn website and read about it, because they're the only ones who've got these stills.
The distillery, if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to the distillery if you can. It's good. It's a great tour. So they're the only ones who got these stills, the Faraday stills. They were struggling a little bit initially, so they recruited the help of Dr. Jim Swan, the late Dr. Jim Swan, who, if you know anything about whiskey, you've probably heard of Jim Swan. He basically invented STR casks, amongst other things. I think some of the Johnny Walker blends are his. And he came over and helped them out, and they basically never looked back. So, you know, they're known for their what's the wine?
Madeira.
Thank you. Madeira cask finishes. In fact, I have a bottle of it downstairs. It's very nice. And I mean, so after the bit in the boardroom, they took us on the usual kind of distillery tour. So showed us the stills, showed us the Faraday still. They also have 2 pot stills now.
And they've got 2 Faraday stills, actually.
Yes, and it's all manual, so there's no computer control. So they actually use, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you got more of the spiel on the spirit safe, but I think they actually use the spirit safe still.
Yeah.
Which is
for I think they use it for the pot stills more than for the. I think it's a bit of a simplified spirit still for the.
It's that glass spirit still, isn't it? For the. And when it starts going cloudy.
Safe, sorry, yeah. For
yeah.
It's a bit, so it's quite simplified, and the spirit safe side of things is simpler on the Faraday stills, but
yeah. And then they took us into kind of another room where they had a few of the casks, and they did that thing where they pass around like smell the grains and that kind of, and you get to smell the casks, the different casks they use, because for the peated whiskey they don't use peated malt, they use the Frey Lagavulin cask. Can't remember which we've come across before. Yeah. We got to taste the new makes, only a couple of drops, because obviously 92% to kill you.
They also gave us a
shot of
Buffalo
Trace.
Oh, it might have been Buffalo Trace. It was a decent bourbon anyway.
Yes.
And a shot of Madeira, which was
quite sweet.
Something.
And then back up to the boardroom for the actual tasting. So you had 4.
Yeah.
4 tastings.
And then a bonus.
Yes. And it was all about, encouraging you to find the tastes and what you tasted and trying to guess what it was. They didn't tell you what it was straight away. And then after that, down to the bar, a couple more tastings. I think I'd tapped out by that point. I think you had a couple more than me.
Well, we got one special one.
Yes.
And then one was.
You could basically choose, couldn't you, from the bar what they had?
Yeah. You choose one. I think you could choose one drink from the bar and one drink from this. They had 2.
So you had the liqueur, didn't you?
Yeah, and they had 2 casks, like mini casks.
Yeah.
Which were keeping cask strength.
Yeah, so
similar to what's at Glenmarie.
Yes, I think I had probably like 9 singles, and you had probably 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Which,
for 60 quid. That's...
Yeah, absolutely one I'd recommend. I don't know how good the normal tour is. I imagine pretty good. But for a 60 quid tour, which is not that much more expensive than a normal whiskey tour, I would suggest that. It was really good, really informative. Learned a bit. Really nice. You get to know the people you're going around with. Have a bit of a laugh with them.
Good talk.
Even had a laugh with the Germans, and
took a photo for them.
Yes. Yeah, everyone's a good bunch on the whiskey tours. They always are.
Yeah.
Got a nice postcard of the Faraday still. I'm still a bit miffed that the placemats they had was like a blueprint of the Faraday still almost.
Yeah, and they didn't have a postcard.
They didn't have a postcard of that. I would like that, but. And obviously, as part of that as well, we got a Penderyn Masterclass glass, Glencairn glass, a pack of cards.
Is it not a flute more, the Penderyn glass we got?
No, it's a Glencairn. Oh, no, it's not, is it? It's got a stem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a Glencairn shape, but on a stem.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. But not just a Penderyn glass, it's a Penderyn Masterclass glass, so I'm assuming that's the only way you can get it.
Yep, and a dropper, which I'm using just now.
a dropper,
magnet,
cards. Is it a magnet or is it a
there's a magnet and a coaster.
Magnet coaster. And was there what else in that bag?
I don't think so. A card, I think a postcard type thing, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, absolutely. I think it was worth the money.
Definitely.
So if you're around in Wales and you like your whiskey, Penderyn, definitely worth a visit.
And our driver would like you to know that there's also good cycling to be had around there.
Yes.
So.
And also, if this was in the
because we didn't just have him sit there for 3 hours whilst we.
We did offer for him to come around with us, but he refused. This was in the original Penderyn distillery in the Brecons. They are opening 2 others.
Yeah,
one in Swansea.
In Swansea, yeah. So that one will probably be much easier.
Also, I can't remember where the other one is, but
going to be automated, I believe.
Yeah, they look very fancy. They all get Faraday stills.
Penderyn are leveling up their production.
Yeah, they all look very fancy.
Yeah.
So as always, I think when we come away from a distillery tour, we recommend it.
Yeah. And that's that. As you pointed out before the podcast, that means that we've represented all parts of Great Britain and Ireland now. You know. Unless
I don't know if any of these are Northern Irish.
No, but you know in
a few years we'll have represented.
They play rugby as a team, so
yeah,
it'll be fine.
Yeah, but yes, I'm English, you're Scottish. We're drinking Irish, and now we talk Welsh.
Yeah.
If you, I know we shouldn't drag on because we're running out of time, but if you were gonna say your best ever distillery tour, what would it be?
I did enjoy Penderyn.
I enjoyed Penderyn.
I enjoyed Aberlour.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed Strophyla.
Strophyla was really good.
Pretty good. But I currently I think Penderyn's probably there. I think by the end of this year I might have a different answer, but
maybe.
Currently I would say Penderyn's up there.
I really enjoyed the Penderyn. I really enjoyed Aberlour. But I think my number one is neither of those.
What do you think yours is? Yorkshire or something?
No, I enjoyed the Yorkshire one, but the the thing about the Yorkshire distillery is the tar's pretty average. Not in an offence, but it's here's a distillery, here's some tastings.
Here's some whiskey.
It's nice. You don't get me wrong. It's similar very much to the Lakes distillery tar in terms of you don't go into the boardroom. Bear in mind, the Penderyn tar we did was
I just remembered. I think Clydeside might be my favourite.
Yeah, that was going to be it.
Because of their wee museum.
Yeah. So it's a little unfair because I've done the Lakes Distillery basic tar, I've done the Yorkshire basic tar, I've done Aberlour basic tar, but the
Aberlour basic tar does come with like a full.
You go into the boardroom. It was very good. Don't get me wrong, it's very good. But my point is just comparing it to the Clydeside where I think we did the not so basic tar because we did the chocolate tasting tar.
Yeah.
And the Penderyn where we obviously did the more expensive tar.
Yeah.
Might be a little unfair. But yes, out of all the tars I've done, I think I enjoyed the Clydeside most. And I think I agree with you that it wasn't I really enjoyed the chocolate tasting whiskey because I like chocolate and I like whiskey. But I really liked that little museum bit that they had.
Yeah.
And Penderyn did have something similar.
It did.
There was that bit where you could wander, but I think Clydeside just did it a little bit better.
Yeah.
And the Clydeside building is so unique.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the Clydeside managed to do really well, considering that at the time we were there, they didn't even have a whiskey.
Yeah.
So there was.
It's just a really nice building.
I think give them 10 years, I think their tour will be a proper cracker. Also, the fact that the stills in that room that overlooks the Clyde is pretty cool.
Yeah, they've got like
big
a
glass room,
Victorian pumping tower, and then like a big glass room with the 2 beautiful copper stills in. It's pretty striking, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. You can see it from the expressway and the train.
I'm a fan of Clydeside.
Yeah. Plus the donuts, you know.
Yeah, well, there you go. They've tapped into my weakness there. Yeah, so sorry, I probably lingered on that too much, but I just thought I'd say that. Yeah, I'm glad we're in basic agreement.
Yeah.
I think the basic lesson for that is if you fancy doing a distillery tour, absolutely go for it. They're really good.
Yeah, I think anywhere that offers a tour isn't doing it half-assed.
No, they're really good. You have a good time. You generally get a bit of whiskey. Well, you definitely get a bit of whiskey. You generally get more than a bit.
Yeah.
And
if you're sweet talk people, you might be able to get a bit more.
Yeah. And
Pretty
I always
sure
learn
I could
something.
have had more whiskies in that bar if I'd have really wanted to, but I'd had enough.
Yeah, I always learn something, no matter how many we go to.
Yeah. Well, so I think it's because there's the art and the science. So the art is always going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to get us into his next one then?
We can jump on to the next one. So this next one is a very, very well. I'm not saying it's well named. I'm just saying that it's an enjoyable
poetic,
name.
Isn't it?
Yeah. This is the Writer's Tears Redhead, and it is actually a little bit coppery in colour.
It is.
So Redhead takes its name from its rich ruby hue. Walsh Whiskey's single malt is matured in hand-picked Spanish sherry butts, previously seasoned with fine Oloroso sherry. These not only give, that's a throwback to a previous whiskey talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Top.
Yeah. These not only give the Writer's Tears bottling its reddish colouring, but complement the triple distilled spirit with rich, fruity, nutty sherry flavours. A very tasty match.
So this is another one from Walsh, like the first one was.
Yeah, but Walsh is a blended, so is it?
So the Irishman the House, the first one was their signature bottling.
Yeah.
This is a single malt sherry finish, I guess.
So I guess that it could be a single blend, I suppose, if it's from one distillery, but they use a grain and a malt.
Would that just be a blend?
That's what I mean, but I don't know that there's such a thing as a single blend, but maybe that would be something that they could claim for it if it was a thing.
Because I think blended and blend are two different things.
Yeah.
So blended is it's two single malts cracked together.
No, and that's married, isn't it?
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And blend is, it's not a single malt, it's different grains.
Yeah. I think a blended whiskey has a grain. I think we should go back to we should work out the etymology. Well, maybe think about that for next time. I'll do a whiskey talk on it all again.
You should know this by now.
Yeah, but anyway, if you'd like to,
I reckon I'm getting orange peel, maybe a bit of dried fruits, and
wait, let me guess.
Cherry plums. Maybe?
Yeah, that would be what's on the card. So you've just cracked it in one.
Oh wow, I'm getting good at this. Look at that.
I'm getting some citric. It's kind of spicy as well, though. I'd say this is like a Chris Tingle orange.
Very good. This is like, it's making me think of squash. You know, like when it's sweet but over.
Well, yeah, put too much in.
No, the opposite. Too much water.
Oh, so it's like.
It's like a diluted sweetness.
I'm getting like a very big punchy orange in my nose, so.
There is a lot of orange.
So yeah. I was thinking like when you forget to put the water in your squash, and but it has a little bit of a spice to it, I think. But that'll be from the sherry, obviously. I assume sherry plums probably have something. But would you like to take a drink?
I shall go for a drink.
Well, then you should be tasting nutty Oloroso, spicy raisins, and creamy oak.
Yeah, that's Oloroso. You'll get that. But if you blind tasted this, you'd know it was Oloroso cask.
It's very nice.
It is very nice.
A quintessential sherried whiskey, I would say.
We do like his Oloroso casks.
We do.
It's quite dry.
Yeah.
Like on the finish.
Yeah, so on the finish, it should be long and complex with a flourish of orange.
A flourish. Yeah. Yeah, I could get a bit of orange in there, maybe a bit of citrus.
Something citrus, yeah.
Maybe that's what's the dryness.
Probably, yeah. It's sort of acidic a little bit.
Yeah. It's like classic sherry flavours, though, isn't it?
Yeah. This guy, whoever did these tasting notes, was definitely on our level of tasting notes. It's long and it's complex. That just means I can't be bothered to try and pick anything out of this.
What does it taste like? Oh, it's too complicated.
Yeah, as opposed to clove, sweets, white pepper, oily grapefruit, lemon zest, dark chocolate, dry toast, cherries, granola bar, dried herbs, aniseed, green olives, 3-peel marmalade.
Well, that was just a shot scattergun approach. Someone's going to be like, "Oh, I get marmalade from that." And they're like, "He's a genius."
Whereas complex, that's the guy.
See,
that's the guy who's working smart, not hard.
It's probably Jim Murray because he's got like 0.3 seconds before he moves on to the next one.
He's like, I want to say it's like a complicated woman, but I'm not allowed, so I'll just write complex.
I was going to make a joke. You know, did you ever watch the Top Gear where the truck drivers?
No.
So there's a bit that Clarkson got held up on where he's driving the truck and he's like, "Oh, they all say it's easy driving the truck, but it's actually really hard. It's like change gear, change gear, change gear."
Oh yeah, I have seen.
Assault a woman, change gear, change gear, change gear, and he got pulled up on that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And my joke on Jim Murray was going to be, yeah, it's hard being Jim Murray because you've got to be like, taste whiskey, taste whiskey, taste whiskey, assault a woman.
Yeah. It's easier. It's better when there's like, you know, when someone's already cancelled for it, though, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, like Clarkson's got the reputation to get away with it.
Yeah. Well, get away with it ish.
Well, it makes him more famous, doesn't it? That's the thing. I am from the same place as him.
Are you? Is he from?
Yeah, he's a Doncaster lad. Yeah.
Did I just narrow it down too much where you're from? You can cut that if you want.
I think Mexboro's a town of like 15,000 people. You're right.
All right.
No one knows where it is anyway. So yeah, just to double down on that, I'm from Mexborough. I knew at least one other Josh from in my year at Mexborough, so I can't be the only one.
That's fine then. I'll narrow it down for y'all. For me, I am from Scotland.
About the same population.
Fair enough.
You know that bit on Terminator 1 where he's going through the phone book and he kills all the other Sarah Connors until he gets to her? Yeah. He'll be like that now. They'll be killing all the other Joshes from Mexborough until they get to me.
But they won't have worked out. Well, to be fair, they'll have to come to Wales and then try and find one. So
yeah, they don't even have phone books here. They barely invented writing. It's like being
well, they did, but they do it very funnily.
Yeah, good luck.
A lot of L's.
Good luck finding me on the phone.
How many L's in Josh?
Only a couple.
Yeah. Are they back to back to back?
Yeah, L's don't. Oh, yeah. Like women going to the bathroom.
Like Andrew Lloyd Webber.
I think this has got kind of sherry flavours that you get from a Scotch, like an Oloroso Scotch. Yeah. But softer.
Potentially, yeah.
Like an Aberlour in an Oloroso would punch you in the face a lot more than this does. Mm. In a good way. You know, like a tender punch in the face.
Yeah. We've got to be careful. We're men. We're not allowed to talk about tender kisses, punches and stuff like that.
We're not?
No. Because, like, what's the name? Florence and the Machine has that song with a kiss with a fist is better than none. We can't say that.
Does that make us not men?
What?
Talking about tender punches.
No, I'm saying that if we say that a kiss with a fist is better than none, it's a problem. Whereas if a woman says it, it's still a problem, but...
I think I get what you're intimating.
Yeah. Well, see, some people say that it's like that when abuse is all you know, it's attention, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting into some deep topics. Like
we do.
Maybe the title for this one could just be WhiskAYE Podcast number 36, Domestic Violence. That'd sell itself really well, wouldn't it? A nice, light-hearted podcast that we've got going here. Yeah. I'm not getting into the blooming those kind of topics. No. Refuse.
But I was just saying we should probably steer away from talking about it being a nice punch.
Steering away from nice punches to scores.
Yes.
Did you want to give that one a score?
I think I would give that a 4.
I would happily go for a 4 on that one.
Bear agrees.
You're right, Bear. Probably gonna have to speed it up a bit. We've lollygagged. We were doing really well for the first 3, and then I talked too much about Pandaren, and then we got onto, potentially dangerous topics that are going to get us cancelled.
Yeah.
First, we've got to be discovered, though. Maybe that's it. We make ourselves cancelable, so people have got to discover us, so then they can then cancel us.
We're going for that controversy approach. Like, I feel like that was a thing in like early YouTube days.
It's like Piers Morgan.
Oh, there's also those people.
But... Yeah, exactly. So I regret that choice.
Okay, on with the next then.
Indeed. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Just having a slug of water. Oh, no, I'm starting to feel drunk. Bad for you. Okay, so the last of us full-size ones is one that I'm going to greatly enjoy. It is Hinch, the Time Collection. Here's a magic word. Petered.
Whoop, whoop.
A peated Irish whiskey is hard to come by. So this is an exciting bottling from Hinch. Further unique for being the only Northern Irish whiskey, there you go, we've covered them all.
Yeah.
Featured in this set. The distillery takes its name from nearby the town of, go on, Ballynahinch?
Yeah, Ballynahinch, I would say.
County Down. Ballynahinch, maybe? I don't know.
Nah, it'd be Bally.
I apologise to my Northern Irish friends. I am an Englishman. Our international brand is ignorance. The Americans try and take it from us, but I think theirs is boorishness. Because obviously we're not boorish when we're like, speak English, slowly and point.
But as they say, speak American.
Yeah, you're lucky you've got freedom. We invented it. Basically the English role is to make Scotland, Wales, and Ireland look better in comparison. Do you have any idea how much gratitude you owe to the English? Because when you travel abroad, they can be like, "You poor guys, we have to put up with the English." Thanks to us being the worst.
It's definitely not thanks to us being the best.
I can't argue. I am a big fan of the Scottish.
We're great when we go abroad because we get drunk, but then we get hilarious rather than violent.
Yeah.
We save our violence at home.
I think the Scottish
and anyway, talking about being violent at home, let's skip that.
The Scottish do get violent. I think it's just less so than the English.
I think we have less of a mob mentality about it.
I think you also get drunk less easy as well.
Probably.
Whereas we get Essex lads go abroad and
a national problem for Scotland.
yeah, Essex lads go abroad.
Yeah.
Have a couple of WKD blues, get drunk and think they're Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Just to get that message out there, I also hate the south of England. So the nose on this one is a good. Berry Bros may have invented this one. Sweet tar, smoky, and a woodish nose. I thought I'd join you in your favourite spot of picking on Berry Bros. Oh, jeez.
Is there a helicopter there?
No, it's some guy on one of those Angry Wasp motorbikes.
Oh. It does smell quite peaty, doesn't it?
It just doesn't smell very nice.
I'd say it's a perfumey peat rather than...
It's like a brimstoney peat.
Maybe.
It's like... I can imagine the earth has opened and there's a crack of sulphur just filling my nose. But maybe that's just me.
I can imagine someone making a hand soap of this. Sort of a...
I'd never go in my bathroom if they made a hand soap of this.
I know.
There is a bit of sweetness behind it. I'm trying.
But when they make it like bergamot and that, quite strong smells.
Yeah.
Be like a masculine, musky soap.
It smell like fire. The most masculine of elements. No, that's probably earth.
Yeah.
Peat is a little bit of the combination of both of them. We're getting off topic. Right, dive in for a taste. Palate. Great. Immediate strong peat flavours with lingering and nuanced fruit undertones which survive the peat storm.
I don't know that anything survives this peat storm. I'm not gonna lie.
Great. Finish. A hint of licorice comes. I love licorice as well. Comes through on the palate as the peat gently mellows, awaiting your next sip. This is going to be.
Yeah, I could actually maybe get behind licorice.
All right, fill the air. I'm going for it. You're not filling the air. Fill the air.
I had a mouthful of whiskey. It's very peaty. But I do get. It's just peat. It's just peat.
It starts off as kind of a medicinal peat, and then it gets like a rain puddle peat.
Yeah.
A bit more earthy, but it is just peat. It's not that bad.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing.
Turning. It's going super side.
It's better than the smell made me think it would be.
The flavour is just peat though.
It is.
But it's not super smoky in that, which is weird. So for people who don't know whiskey, they'll be like, "What do you mean? It's just peat, but it's not super smoky." But
many variations of peat, to be fair.
Yeah, it's the earthy side of peat in the flavour, I would say.
Yes, it's not it. It's peat, and I don't like it, but it's not as bad as the smell made me think it would be. There's not like that strong TCP medicinal peat, the smoky peat.
It's not even like cured meats peat though. It's literally just like
it's like campfire ash peat.
Yeah.
Which is probably the best of the peats, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's by no means great, and I am pulling a lot of faces, but it could be worse.
We're giving it some water.
I'll give it some water, come on. Give me a thing for a bit of reprieve. The things I do for our 32 fans.
Fans is strong.
And upload it in like.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this one, we probably recorded it about 6 months ago.
Yeah. If you're listening to this one in 2025, how did you get a hold of this? We haven't released it yet.
Yeah. And I'm amazed that you still like have access to the internet after the apocalypse. Which one got you? Was it pandemic?
New COVID? Was it
nuclear war?
Was it monkeypox? Was it nuclear war? Was it the roving bands of looters breaking into people's houses because they can't afford to buy food? Was
everything's too expensive. Was it Elon finally went over the edge and just started killing people? And
was it the AI uprising?
I'm going to apologise for the swear, but what a prick.
Was it the AI uprising?
Could have been the AI uprising.
Would we even know if it was the AI uprising?
Never mind artificial intelligence. Finding any intelligence in this day and age is difficult.
I'm just trying to clear my palate and my glass.
Can you imagine inventing an AI and it believes the world is flat?
Just because it read the internet for a bit.
Yeah. Fisheye lenses. He's like, shut it down now. Do you want to give that one a go?
I'll give it a 3.
3. I will go. You know what? I'm going to go 2.5.
That's fair.
It's about as high as I can go for something so heavily peated, I think.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would like that, but I think that to be fair, it did what it said on the tin. It was pretty one note, but it was the one note that it wanted to be. And it's the one note that some people seem to want every whiskey to be. So.
Yeah, true. Right, do you want to introduce us to a special one then?
Yes, I will. I believe that on our discussion of female whiskey types, because it was. I
You're
believe
coming
that.
across not incel at all so far.
No, but
Yes.
So we were talking about, obviously, we didn't actually explain why that segue worked, but it's because the master distiller and I believe the master blender at Penderyn are both women.
Yes.
And I believe the owner of J.J. Corey is a woman.
Yes.
So
in fact, we've seen us talking
from Women at Whiskey.
Yeah, the Dram Team one, which is very good.
Yeah. That was one that we actually did a revisit of rather than because we joined the Dram Team live stream because it was
very good. Very good.
So we also have our most divided score is on a JJ Corey, I believe.
It is the Hanson. I'm a big fan. You know, not a tractor, but not as big of a fan.
Yeah. So in we go with the JJ Corey, the Flintlock Batch 3. A selection of single malt ex-bourbon casks, each aged 15 to 18 years, or 18, sorry, so 15 or 18, not 15 to 18, vatted to create the perfect representation of J.J. Corey's juicy, fruity house style. A Moscatel sherry butt finish imparts extra complexity. A stunner.
I do like a Moscatel finish.
All right. So on the nose, white stone fruits and forest berries first, then
What the hell is a white stone fruit?
Like peach nectarine.
Are they white stone fruits?
Pretty sure.
I will look it up, but you're probably right. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, and then subtle hints of orange blossom.
Nectarines, peaches. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I like peaches and I like nectarines.
Yeah, it does have that sort of fruit salady smell.
It does.
Like the sweet, like the Bassett's fruit salad that comes in a double pack with.
Yeah, I got you meant the sweet rather than the like an actual fruit salad.
Tin of fruit salad. Yeah.
There's a little bit of a zestiness to it though.
Yeah, I'll probably be like the orange blossomy. Because I would always say that I think fruit salad's flavour is like in the sweet is like aimed to be in around peaches and nectarines as opposed to.
Yeah, it's a flat sweetness rather than a sharp sweetness. I'm gonna go for the taste.
Okay.
Oh, look at the first one.
They're stolen our words. On a palate, ripe orchard flavours and a complex underlay of sweet jasmine from the Moscatel. Jasmine. The mid palate is bright with lime and grapefruit and fresh summer wildflower honey. Then on the finish, it evolves into Christmassy chocolate orange and honeycomb, and the slightest hint of sweet jasmine returns.
So that is like
know that I know what jasmine tastes like.
You know about jasmine rice?
Oh yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. It is like a tale of two whiskies because when you first taste it, it is kind of that sweetness, that orchard fruitiness. It's quite fresh, it's quite refreshing. But when you swallow it, it does go into that more sherry kind of like dried fruits, boozy kind of Christmassy sherry flavors.
It's very interesting.
It is.
If you hold it right at the tip of your tongue, it's actually quite salty.
Okay, going for another one. Give me a second.
But yeah, on the like if you're holding it cupped on your tongue,
yeah, there is a bit.
It's very orchard fruity. But if you've got it right at the tip, it's
very good.
It does have some kind of like I would say there's lime in the finish.
I would agree. I think there's like a zesty kind of, like you get it's tart bitteriness.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's at the finish.
Yeah. To be fair, a lot of the time that I've had fancy rice like jasmine rice, it has had lime.
Yeah.
Like zest fruit.
I do like jasmine rice though.
Yeah.
Next time you visit, we should go to a decent restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's my turn to visit. We need to look when I'm coming up there.
I can find a decent restaurant.
Around where we're visiting?
Maybe not there. I mean, here.
But we'll have to, once we've done this recording for our fans, we'll discuss it.
Yeah. Sounds good. I don't really want to finish this whiskey, but
It's very nice.
I've got only a tiny little bit left, so I should probably just bite the bullet.
Yeah, I've just finished mine.
Delicious.
Do you want to give it a score?
I think I would probably be in the 4 margin on that. I think
I'll go 4.5 on that. I really like that.
I'd say it's a 4.25, but I'm erring on the side of caution.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. We have gone a little bit over because we lollygagged I lollygagged in the middle.
We always go a little bit over.
We do. We are trying.
Always chats.
But as always, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, a great advert for Irish whiskey that box was.
Indeed. And we shall see you in 2030.
Yeah. Have a good time.
If this isn't uploaded after 2030, and if it is, then 2040.
Yeah. See you then.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.